Hello, hello. I am Taylor Ursula. Welcome back to our moon phase tarot pull. Today we're going to be talking about our first quarter moon in Gemini. So this first quarter moon in Gemini is pretty interesting. First quarter moon is always when the moon squares the sun. So there's a point of crisis. This is where we start to see things take shape that we were envisioning, hoping for, putting into motion at the new moon. So the crisis brings up for our review, how has that been going? So this first quarter moon in Gemini has a cute little conversation with Venus, a cute little conversation with Jupiter, a cute little conversation with Chiron, and then maybe an intense conversation with Mars. And what this tells me is that we are considering, at the light of this growing, waxing moon, as the moon is gaining its momentum and beginning to kind of show itself again, we might be thinking about, in terms of this crisis of, am I getting where I want to go? We might be thinking about who we can connect with in terms of that conversation with Venus, who is involved in this situation that we are currently part of, that we are hoping to bring to fruition, or that we are concerned with at this time. Checking in with kind of our beliefs, our opportunities. There may be some opportunities in the light of this sort of crisis moment to move forward or to advance that we hadn't necessarily seen before. And that may reveal itself once we are considering the people we can connect with, right? So we've got a cute little sequence happening here. We have a sextile to Chiron, and perhaps that brings up, where have I felt limited in attempting this before? And how am I beginning to find my way around that? It's a gentle conversation. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we are being confronted. Rather, we're simply kind of reflecting on, perhaps, or acknowledging where we are surpassing a place that we hadn't maybe previously thought we could. And then that conjunction to Mars really feels like, once we've gotten all the rest of this information, we've chatted with Venus and figured out who our people are, we've connected with Jupiter and thought about or revisited opportunities or received opportunities. We've reflected with Chiron about how far we've come and maybe how we are making strides in the face of our wound. And then with all of that information, Mars is kind of able to say, oh, well, great, let's figure out a plan. So typically we might think this conjunction is one where feelings arise, or where anger is catalyzed, or some sort of, bloop, I'm dealing with my ego in some sense. And in this case, I really think, especially since the next day is Tuesday, which is Mars Day. So we're ending this Monday, this first quarter moon, with a conversation with Mars, who, as we also know, is slowly clearing this retrograde shadow. So it feels to me like, especially since we started this cycle with the Fool, which we'll connect with in a minute, we're really starting to get a sense of direction. So I think this first quarter moon certainly brings up where we want to be going, and it allows for us to start filling in some of those blanks that we haven't known before. So let's see what we pull for our cards this week.
Okay, so here we've got our cards laid out from our new moon pull, where we saw that we were once again jumping into a new moon cycle through the Fool, similar to our previous Aquarius new moon cycle, but that this time we had really wrapped things up in a big and final way for ourselves that was allowing us to explore and welcome in new opportunities for tangible growth, be it financial, be it ideas, be it productivity, and grounding these ideas and intentions by grounding into our emotional maturity, our ability to stand tall and hold space for our own emotions as well as those around us. So let's go ahead and begin our shuffle. And for this first quarter moon, once again, we'll be looking at questions around energy that is accumulating now, doubts and complications that are arising with this energy, gifts that we can work with regarding this energy, and lessons that we are able to make sense of now as we make our way towards the full moon. And it's important to consider the lessons that we make sense of now, because we can't always make sense of things, right? And this first quarter moon does tend to have the energy of bringing to our attention issues that need to be acknowledged. And it's important to kind of recognize where we're able to make sense of things and let go of where we can't. Some things don't make sense until we reach the full moon, right? We can't have all the answers, it turns out. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, that's lovely. Energy that is accumulating now. I am pretty sure this also showed up at the same place in the Aquarius new moon cycle when we got to the, I believe it was the Taurus first quarter moon. So fascinating. Okay, we are in a place where we are accumulating connective energy. We are one-on-one with people. We are opening up to emotional realms outside of ourselves. We are facilitating abundance in our connection with other people. We are connecting water and air, right? We are taking our ideas and we're sharing them with others in such a way that allows us to connect with them emotionally. So doubts and complications that arise. Okay, we have a lot of cups happening. Makes sense for Pisces season. So interesting. So a doubt and complication that arises is our ability to perhaps know what's going on, trusting our intuition. The Queen of Cups we've discussed shows us where we've carved out the space to be our own emotional strength so that we can then evolve and be that for others. Maybe in our attempts to ground our emotions, or ground our intentions rather, by being some sort of emotional rock for ourselves and others, maybe that has brought us to a place where we're feeling like we don't actually know how to do that. Maybe we're meeting new people, right? We started off with the Fool, so we're in a whole new cycle, and maybe we're meeting new people and it's causing us to come back to our sense of intuition to say, what do I know? Do I emotionally open up? Is this creating shifts in me that now stretch outward into my sense of intuition and my ability to self-nurture? So that makes sense. When we meet new people, they create dynamic shifts within us. Each person catalyzes something different within us. And so we may need to come back to this place and regroup, reground within our processes, and just touch base with our emotions and our intuition. Gifts that I can work with regarding this energy is the Five of Wands. Okay, so what gets water going is fire, right? What energizes water? As I ruin these cards, what energizes water? What gets water moving? It's fire. When we put a little fire underneath water, it gets it to start boiling. So this is kind of a cool way to think about, let me tap into my creative efforts. Let me tune into where I'm invited to participate, to show up, to be creative, to be inventive, to show my skill set amongst other people. And this perhaps helps us balance out this feeling of not really trusting our intuition, or rather our intuition evolving in some way. Lessons I am able to make sense of as we reach the full moon is the Eight of Wands. Okay. Eight of Wands is very fast moving. The Eight of Wands is movement, progress, sending out messages, releasing things into space and time, putting ourselves out there. I love seeing it with the Five because it's very much a story, a narrative about believing ourselves to be contenders, believing in our ideas, and just going through these steps to put them out there without really tripping up on the doubt, without really tripping up on the uncertainty, just being someone who makes what they are doing, what they're up to, known, and then allowing something to sort of manifest or unfold in it quickly. The Eight of Wands, again, is very fast. So this might not be necessarily like something you have control over. It might be that by working with this gift and by moving through the themes of this week, if you lean into the gift that you have, if you take this as an opportunity to put yourself out there, even in the face of this doubt, I'm not sure if this is the right thing. I'm not sure if people will like this. I'm not sure if this will be received well. Knowing that if you believe yourself to be a contender, if you believe yourself to have a seat at the table, if you put your creativity and your passions out into the world, something will transpire, something will happen. So that is a lesson that we see that we're able to make sense of as we approach the full moon. And I really love connecting this with Mars. We can kind of think of this maybe as like each of the conversations that the moon is having over the course of this first quarter moon that we discussed, connecting with Venus, reaching out to other people, wondering if we're going to have opportunities, wondering if we're going to be emotionally sound to trust what's coming up. Connecting with Chiron and saying, I can put myself out there. I have done so much more than I ever expected. I have surpassed so many obstacles. And so I have this drive in me to keep going. And connecting with Mars and saying, oh, if we just put ourselves out there, things will happen. This feels pretty cool. I would love to hear how you feel about it in the comments, and please feel free to try out this spread on your own. Let me know what cards come up for you.